Let's take a look at separators and spiders throughout the years from a D3 all the way up to an E2 Platinum. So here is a D3. You notice you've got this little brass nut, and there is the separator, and here's what the spider looks like underneath. Obviously it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Let's move on to a 93 model of a D4C SE. There you go, the separator, still got the brass nut. And there is the spider. Isn't that unusual? But you can see where this is going. Just a few years later, 97, here is a PE model. So you can see that's kind of similar. Still got the brass nut, but look at the spider. Isn't that different? Yeah, a little bit more airflow with that one. And then here is the E2 Platinum Blue, Thomas Rechtenwald's, and nothing says pay more for me than plastic. That's right, that's a plastic nut, little tiny separator, and there's the spider, or lack thereof. Look at that. Very different type of design. All right, so per the owner's request of this D3, we're going to do at the canister airflow and suction tests. And this machine, I noticed that it has kind of an unusual feature. And I'll go over that in a minute. It has to do with its exhaust cap and how the machine reacts to having the exhaust cap on or off, because it's different than the D4 or the E2. All right, so airflow test. As a reminder, my D4C PE, the one from 1997, just to compare, this one obviously is much older than that. It gets 87 CFM right here, and also right here it gets 60 inches of water lift. So that's the D4 SEPE. This is a D3. Let's see what this does. I saw about 9.4 amps. That's at 121 volts. So 3504. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good turnout here. Pretty good score. We are at 91.5 CFM. So I had actually measured this with the dirty separator, I don't know, probably like a week or two ago. And it was like 87 or 88. So I'm at here about 91.5. So that's pretty good. And that's with the exhaust cap on. So let's do a suction test with the exhaust cap on, and I'm going to have to reorient the camera because you won't be able to see that. Exhaust cap on. Let's see what it does. Make sure you have good focus. Away we go. And I see 60. All right, I mentioned earlier, when you take the exhaust cap off, you have an interesting effect. Let's see if you can actually see the same thing that I saw, and it kind of made me scratch my head a bit. So we had 91, I guess, and a half or so, 91 some odd CFM with the cap on. Now the cap is off. All right, with the cap off, we're at 89.4 CFM. We lost a couple of CFM by taking the exhaust cap off. The D4, the two D4s I have, and the E2 of Thomas's, when you take the exhaust cap off, the airflow goes up. This one, when you take the exhaust cap off, the airflow goes down. So I haven't disassembled this, and I'm not a D3 expert, but I've certainly taken apart both of my D4s, so I know what's in there. There's something interesting in here that makes this act in a very different way than you would expect. Oh well, now you've seen it. All right, the cap is off. Make sure you've got a good focus. And away we go. I see 60. All right, I see 60 with the cap off. To sum up, my PE machine on the left gets 87 CFM from here, while the D3 machine gets 91. Suction-wise, they both are the same. I get 60 inches here, and I get 60 inches there. So that's pretty interesting, I think. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more.